Oh, you kidding me? After another first-round exit, after the general manager himself says the team needs a DNA change, are we seriously looking at trading away one of the core pieces? William Nylander, Mitch Marner, what is this? Some kind of fever dream? Are the Toronto Maple Leafs about to blow it all up, or is this just the usual off-season madness? Let's dive into the absolute chaos. Welcome back to the channel. Everyone, if you're a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs, or frankly, just a fan of NHL drama, you are in for a ride this offseason. The sting of yet another early playoff exit is still fresh, and the frustration among the fan base, and seemingly within the organization itself, is palpable. General Manager Brad Treliving didn't mince words after the team was eliminated by the Florida Panthers, stating unequivocally that the Maple Leafs need a DNA change. Those 3 words sent shockwaves through the hockey world and immediately ignited speculation about the future of the team's highly paid, underperforming core. For years, the conversation has revolved around the core for Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner, and John Tavares. They possess immense individual talent, but that talent hasn't translated into consistent playoff success. Now, with Treliving's comments, it seems the patience might have finally run out. And when you talk about changing the DNA, you're talking about potentially moving one of those foundational pieces. The trade rumors are already swirling, and some proposals out there are absolutely wild. Let's look at a couple of the most prominent and intriguing ideas that have surfaced, starting with a potential blockbuster involving one of the most dynamic wingers in the game. The William Nylander blockbuster. A shock to the system? Could William Nylander, the player who just signed a massive extension and had a career year, actually be on the move? A proposed trade making the rounds, generated using Puckpedia's Puck GM tool, suggests exactly that. This hypothetical deal would send Nylander to the Utah Mammoth, the league's newest franchise, in a multiplayer package. Here's a proposed trade. Toronto Maple Leafs acquire Barrett Hayton forward, Jack McBain forward, 2025 first-round pick, 4th overall. Utah Mammoth acquire William Nylander forward, David Kampf forward. On the surface, this is a massive deal. The Maple Leafs trade away one of their absolute top offensive players, a bona fide star in William Nylander, in exchange for significant assets aimed at improving their depth and acquiring a high draft pick. The centerpiece of the return for Toronto is undoubtedly that 4th overall pick in the 2025 draft, a chance to inject elite young talent into the organization. But they also get 2 NHL forwards. Barrett Hayton, a 24-year-old former high draft pick, is in the final year of his current 2-year, $5.3 million deal. He can play both center and wing, offering versatility, and could potentially slot in as the team's second-line center or fill a need on the left wing. He put up a respectable 20 goals and 26 assists for 46 points in 82 games last season. The Maple Leafs would also acquire Jack McBain, a 25-year-old pending RFA. McBain is a big-bodied forward who could provide depth in the bottom 6, potentially as a third-line forward, chipping in some offense. He recorded 13 goals and 14 assists for 27 points in 82 games last season. In return, the Maple Leafs will be parting ways with William Nylander, who is unquestionably a star player and one of the most skilled wingers in the NHL. Nylander is currently in the 2nd year of his massive 8-year, $92 million contract extension, a deal that carries a significant cap hit. For Utah, acquiring Nylander would immediately give them a legitimate superstar to build around. However, a major hurdle in this specific trade scenario is Nylander's no-movement clause, which he would have to waive to prove a trade to Utah. Last season, Nylander had a career year, scoring 45 goals and adding 39 assists for 84 points in 82 games, elite production that is incredibly difficult to replace. Utah would also take on David Kampf, a defensive-minded center who, notably, was a healthy scratch at times during the playoffs. He has 2 years remaining on his 4-year, $9.6 million deal. The idea of trading Nylander isn't just confined to online trade simulators. Some analysts believe it's a necessary move for Toronto. NHL analyst Darren Pang, speaking on Overdrive, suggested that a big move would be Willie Nylander, to be honest with you. Pang argued that the team's current style of play isn't working, and while players like Marner often receive criticism, Pang believes Marner plays a more determined two-way game than Nylander. Pang acknowledged Nylander's skating and playmaking ability, but suggested that if the Leafs truly want to blow things up and change the team's identity, trading Nylander could allow them to get one player out and two players back, addressing the team's perceived lack of depth in the top nine. Nylander has been a fan favorite, known for his flashy plays and offensive flair. But if the Maple Leafs management is serious about a DNA change and altering the team's culture and performance in the playoffs, moving a high-profile, high-salary player like Nylander, despite his regular season success, could be seen as a necessary, albeit painful, step. It would free up significant cap space and bring in assets to reshape the roster. Interestingly, after the playoff exit, Nylander himself defended the core group. Despite their limited playoff success, just 2 series wins in 7 years for the core four, he felt the team was right there against Florida, battling hard to Game 7 overtime. He called a feeling of losing *** tie, but expressed belief in the core. However, with Treliving's subsequent comment about needing a DNA change, it seems increasingly likely that Nylander and the rest of core might not get another chance together. Replacing Marner? Trading for Jason Robertson? While the focus is often on who the Maple Leafs might trade away from their core, another major question mark looms: the future of Mitch Marner. Marner is arguably the biggest name set to hit unrestricted free agency this summer, and all signs currently point towards him leaving Toronto on July 1st. Replacing a player of Marner's caliber, a top-tier playmaker and offensive force, is incredibly difficult, especially in free agency, which isn't always the best market for acquiring star talent. This has led some insiders to speculate about the trade market as a way for Toronto to replace Marner if he walks. NHL insider Joe Yerdon of Bleacher Report recently linked the Maple Leafs to a potential trade for Dallas Stars star forward Jason Robertson. Yerdon wrote that if Marner departs, the Leafs will have a massive hole to fill up front. He acknowledged that replacing a player of Marner's level is nearly impossible unless they traded for Robertson. Yerdon suggested that if the Leafs somehow managed to acquire Robertson after Marner left, the debate over whether they upgraded would be intense. However, Yerdon also highlighted the significant challenges for Toronto in pulling off such a trade. The Leafs lack top prospect to move and don't have a first-round pick for the next 3 years, he noted. These are 2 remarkably high hurdles to clear. Despite this, he added that weirder things have happened in the NHL. Jason Robertson is a dynamic young forward who put up 35 goals and 45 assists for 80 points in 82 games last season for Dallas. He would provide a significant offensive boost and could potentially fill a similar role to Marner, albeit with a different style. An interesting side note is that his brother, Nick Robertson, already plays for the Maple Leafs, which should potentially be a factor, however small, in facilitating a move. Robertson is currently in the final year of a very team-friendly 4-year, $31 million deal, carrying an excellent value at a $7.75 million cap hit for next season. This contract status makes him incredibly attractive to other teams. The possibility of Dallas trading Robertson, despite his value, was also raised by NHL insider Jeff Merrick of Daily Faceoff after the Stars were eliminated from the Western Conference Finals. Merrick questioned whether the Stars might consider moving a player like Robertson, who is on that incredible $7.75 million value contract for 1 more year, to recoup draft capital and free up cap space to once again go big game hunting in the summer. Merrick even speculated that if Dallas were to move Robertson, do we start to hear Mitch Marner's name attached to Dallas? A potential sign-and-trade scenario or a free agency pursuit. Trading Robertson would undoubtedly be a surprise for Dallas, but could allow them to shake up their roster and acquire significant assets. Several NHL teams would likely be interested in acquiring a player of Robertson's caliber, even with just 1 year left on his deal, given his production and cap hit. Back in Toronto, the uncertainty surrounding Marner's future is very real. As a top free agent available, he will have numerous teams vying for his services. After the playoff exit, Maple Leafs GM Brad Treliving was non-committal when asked about Marner's return. He called Marner a tremendous player and a star, but emphasized that they were in a process of decompressing and taking a step back. Marner himself has remained quiet about his plans, with all signs pointing towards him exploring his options on July 1st. So there you have it. The Toronto Maple Leafs offseason is already shaping up to be one of the most dramatic in recent memory. With the GM calling for a DNA change, the future of the core four is squarely in question. Whether it's a blockbuster trade sending William Nylander out for depth and futures, or a move to acquire Jason Robertson to replace a likely departing Mitch Marner, it's clear that significant changes could be on the horizon. The status quo is no longer acceptable, and the team seems poised to make moves that could fundamentally alter the look and feel of the Maple Leafs for years to come. Get ready, because this offseason is just getting started. All right, Leafs Nation and hockey fans everywhere. That was a deep dive into some of the wild possibilities swirling around Toronto Maple Leafs right now. It's a lot to process, I know. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these potential scenarios do you think is more likely? Should the Leafs trade William Nylander for assets and depth? Or should they go all in to try and acquire Jason Robertson if Mitch Marner leaves? What kind of DNA change do you think the Maple Leafs need? Drop all your thoughts, your frustrations, your hopes, and your wildest trade ideas down in the comments section below. Let's get this conversation absolutely buzzing. And hey, if you made it this far, if you appreciate this kind of breakdown and analysis, please do me a massive favor and absolutely smash that like button. Hitting like is the best way to show your support and helps the channel grow, so we can keep bringing you the latest news and analysis. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll be keeping a constant watch on all the Maple Leafs offseason moves. You don't want to miss what happens next.